Russo Radio. Hit the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line at 64686. I expect a steady stream of those texts now. Dateline Dallas, that's where Russo is for tonight's showdown game. Wild and the Stars. All our coverage, extended coverage, will start at 7 p.m. tonight with opening face-off scheduled for just past 8 o'clock this evening. Russo, give me your philosophy on home ice. More generally, when I bring this subject up, I'm almost immediately bombarded by hockey folks who say, doesn't matter that much in hockey playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs compared to the NBA playoffs, so I'm not going to obsess over it. I've never suggested any team should obsess over it, but I got to tell you, if I have a shot at home ice, I'm going to take it. I want every advantage I can get, knowing it doesn't guarantee anything, but given the fragile nature of this franchise, and given I assume the owner wouldn't mind a couple extra home games, potentially, to make some money, I say, if you have a chance to go for it, go for it. What do you say?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I was going to make the same joke. I bet Craig Leopold would love them to go for the extra home game. My philosophy, selfishly, is when it's in a great city like Vegas, I want the home. I want to start on the road because I want the extra day in Vegas. But I only think about myself usually anyway. Look, I actually think sometimes it's easier to start on the road because I just think it's a different feeling that if you split on the road versus if you split at home. Going to the road city. I just think that, if the Wild, won game one, lost game two going home, at home going down to Dallas, I think that just makes it a lot tougher, just mentally even. So I always I was, and then if you split on the road, you're wrestling home ice away essentially from that team. So I like that. I think in this series it is very different because historically, and I've said this a few times to people, since I've covered this franchise the last 21 years, historically, Dallas has been probably the toughest building that they've played in. They just don't play very well here, don't have a lot of wins here. And so that's part of it. And then in home, look, in the NHL, home ice, you get last line change, you get your matchups, and you have theoretically the advantage in that situation. So I just think it's so much better. In this specific Minnesota-Dallas series for the Wild to start at home just for those two reasons. One, that they don't play great down here in Dallas, and the other one is just the last line change thing. So, what I could guarantee you that whatever the Wild wind up with, they're going to say it was better for them.
All right, here's another, it's not that complicated a question, but another one I have compared to other sports, because we know these teams are matched up regardless, right? This is the matchup in the first round. And historically and traditionally, when two football teams are in this position, or even two basketball teams in this position, there's often talk of, well, we're going to play them again in the postseason. Therefore, we don't really want to show everything we might have, in store for them from a strategic standpoint. Does the same apply here, or do the Wild look at it as, no, it's too good of an opportunity, we're throwing everything out there to give ourselves the best chance to actually win the game?
Yeah, it's that. I mean, there are no secrets. I mean, first of all, I asked Glenn Gulletson, I said, if home ice wasn't in the offing here, do you think that you would play your guys tonight? Because, look, we know that Marcus Foligno, Michael McCarron, these guys are going to run around and try to, inflict some physical pain against the Stars. And he said, no, absolutely not, that they would play their guys. I just think in this sport, especially, there's no secrets. Everybody knows the systems that both these teams run, power play, penalty kill. I think in the Wild's case, winning probably means a little more than to Dallas, just for two reasons. One, the mental thing, to finally win this team, beat this team, get some momentum going into the playoffs, feeling good about yourself, and trying to show Dallas that this is not going to be like 2023. And then the other thing here is that the Wild are clearly experimenting with a couple different lineups, right? The one at home against Dallas, Bobby Brink played. He played sensationally, set up a couple goals, and then had one unbelievably good monster final shift. But yet tonight he's not playing because they're going with the heavier lineup with Nick Foligno in the lineup. So I think that the Wild are trying to get a look at what those two lineups look like against Dallas, and then make their decision going into game one.
That seems fair. Gus is in the net tonight.
Yep.
How's he looked lately?
Up and down. He's had really good games, but then he just seems to lose focus in the middle of these games. I'm not nearly as worried about him as other people seem to be. I mean, first of all, when I listen to Wild fans at times, you would think that Gus is the world's worst goalie. He and Wallstedt have the best save percentage combined in the National Hockey League. So they've been good for most of the season. And the reality is that in today's NHL, it's just goaltending is not the way it was years ago. Years ago, if you had a 916, 915 save percentage, you're average. Now you're essentially on top of the league. It's just a different sport right now, and goaltending is erratic. I think if you ask Dallas Stars fans, they would say that Jake Ottinger hasn't been very good this year. Yet you look at him and he's got a bunch of victories. So I just think that, it's Gus's. I am not worried about Gus. I think he's going to come into this series feeling good about himself. In 2023, he played well, except on the penalty kill, but the entire team was bad there. It was a learning lesson, his first ever NHL, Stanley Cup playoff. I thought he was good for the most part against Vegas. But yeah, with Wallstedt as his backup and being as good as Wally has been this year, I think that my biggest question is if they lose a game or two, how big of a leash does Gus have when you know that you have such a great backup behind him?
If you are ranking hockey towns right now in the NHL, where would you put Dallas? How high up?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I mean, look, they, yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's a real loaded question. They come out and support their team. Let's put it that way. I think it's a good hockey town. They've had a lot of regular season success. They've gone to conference finals. They're just trying to get over the top. They have a great team here to root for. But look, from a sophistication standpoint, I mean, obviously it's not going to be the same as you would in Montreal and Chicago and New York and Minnesota and Boston, places like that. But these are rabid fans like they are in every single market. They could be aggressive fans. I could tell you that for a fact. But the reality is that, they have always, when I've covered this league a long time. In fact, my first ever road game that I ever covered in the National Hockey League was at Reunion Arena here, the now defunct building. And, that place was crazy loud, packed every single night. And they do a good job filling this joint as well. And it's a tough building to play for, especially Minnesota.
Yeah, covered many a game there as well back in the old expansion Dallas Mavericks days. When you say fans can be tough, I'm intrigued now. What do you mean? Do you have some examples you can share with us?
Yeah, I mean, just social media. It's just they are aggressive. Okay. That type of stuff.
That sort of thing. I want to read a text.
I don't need to go more into that.
Right, that's fine. Texter writes, smart hockey people around the country love and fear coming to Minnesota. They love the fans and their knowledge, and the general feeling is that Minnesota fans are worth a goal a game. I hope that carries through in the playoffs if they get home ice. That sounds good, but I mean, we've actually not been very good at home recently in the postseason, have we?
No, they are not at home during the postseason. I mean, look, this team hasn't gotten past the first round, in a dozen years, right? So to say that they're worth a goal a game or that they're a good home team in the playoffs, they just haven't been. It's been really disappointing. I was talking to Ryan Hartman about this in the locker room the other day. I mean, Ryan said, I asked him, what's the biggest thing you've learned in your playoff losses here in Minnesota? And he basically pointed out that games 4 and 5 are everything in a series, and they just seem to always take their foot off the gas in those games. And if you think about it, I mean, the Wild usually always have a series lead in every single series that they lose. Mm-hmm. They had it last year. They had it in the Dallas series. They had it in the bubble. It's just every single year they have a 1-0 or 2-1 series and just don't put their foot on the proverbial neck of their opponent. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's the type of thing that they have to do. So, look, I hate to say it like this, but if not, I got off the phone with an agent and we were talking about the Wild and he pointed out, he goes, if not now, when? Yeah. This is a tough opponent. These are two extremely even teams. They've been two of the best teams in the National Hockey League. They're only facing each other in the first round because of the idiocy of the playoff format in the National Hockey League. They shouldn't be playing in the first round, but they are. But Bill Guerin went for it. He added, the second best defenseman in the National Hockey League this year. They've got 3 legitimate superstars on their team in Kaprizov, Boldy, and Hughes. There's very few teams in the league that have that number of superstars. Faber is a very different player than he was in 2023 when he was fresh off the college ice. Eriksson Ek is healthy in this series. Kaprizov is healthy in this series. Gustafson's not a rookie in this series. There's a lot of reasons to like the Wild. But if not now, when? You've got to get it done at some point. And it doesn't get easier if you beat Dallas. And you got to go probably play Colorado. So, who's been the best team in the league. I still like this team a lot. And I think they have a great chance of beating the Stars. I actually think that they are going to beat the Stars. But there comes a put up or shut up time.
Yeah.
And the Wild really put all their chips in the middle of the table for this postseason. When you go out and give up what they gave up for Quinn Hughes, when you gave up what they gave up for Michael McCarron, who's not going to be easy to re-sign, there's a lot to like about this team, but there's also a lot of pressure.
What's the Bill Guerin mood-o-meter right now? What's he?
He's in great spirits. I think he believes. I'm getting together with him in Nashville for playoff previews and things like that. So I'll have a better idea tomorrow, what his moods are. But I mean, talking to him all week, he's been in a good mood. I think, after the pressure they dealt with in the Olympics and all that, this is now, easy as pie. But, as we saw in the Olympics, he can get stressed during games. And so once the postseason starts, obviously, and especially, somebody like Bill Guerin, who's such an incredible hockey player, when you don't have the ability to be on the ice and do something to help your team get over the hump, it just makes for a really helpless situation when you're up in the press box watching. That's what leads, I think, to the stress of a competitor like him.
Will you explain the tiebreaker scenarios here that apply?
Yeah, I mean, it's simple. The Wild have lost the tiebreaker already to Dallas. So if they finish the season with the same number of points, Dallas will be, they have home ice advantage. Regulation wins is the first tiebreaker in the National Hockey League, and Dallas has 35. The Wild have 30. There's 4 games left for each. Yeah. I'm no math genius, but I could tell you that
even we can figure that out. Yeah.
If you have 5 more wins already than the Wild and you only have 4 games left, I think Dallas has gotten that tiebreaker. So look, the Wild essentially have to win in regulation today to give themselves a shot at home ice. They can't give, obviously they can't lose in regulation. They can't give, a point to Dallas. They can't really, to me, lose in overtime either. Even Gus said to me the other day, if we lose there, it's going to be basically a 4-point game. And I looked at him, I'm like, well, also if you win there, right. it's not often I'm the one with the glass half full approach, and the goaltender is the one with the defeatist approach. But there you go.
This is Texter Jonathan on an ancillary subject in which I think the real goal is to mess with Johnny Athletic, hockey-hating Johnny Athletic. He writes, I know it's a week and a half old, but did you see the article that a hockey player for Ottawa is playing just 17 days after breaking his arm? The article did not get comment from Johnny Athletic. Can you confirm that? Can you confirm that story?
Yeah, that is true. I had a long talk with Johnny Athletic today. He's actually in Houston today. He called me right when he landed to talk about something else. But I did not get on him on that. I could promise you that. So, I have respect for all athletes in all sports, but we all know that hockey players are tougher. We don't have to have that debate.
Well, here's what's interesting. I ran that quick because it happened to be the same day we had Andy Luger in, and I asked Andy just because I wanted everybody in on the subject because it was too juicy and too much fun. And at the moment, he picked basketball players. He has since texted me to tell me that the people he knows and trusts hammered him for it, said it was a ridiculous take, and that obviously the correct answer is hockey as well. So he is conceding, on that point, and maybe some others will too. I don't know, but it's an ongoing discussion.
Is he conceding on tongue on a bagel? Is a good good sandwich.
He did. Yeah,
that one I didn't agree with. I was thinking about him though the other day because what are the chances? I was talking to you on the radio the other day about H&H Bagels.
Yeah.
And I go home and the next day I turn on Seinfeld and it was the H&H Bagels episode.
That was the one.
So there you go.
Well, I did get the bagels and I enjoyed it.
It's one of the great Seinfeld episodes of all time.
It is outstanding.
Unbelievable.
You're right about that. And I've so far just had the bagels he delivered to me. just with toast. That's how I've used them for so far, and they've been very, very good. Here's another volatile one. I don't know if you want to get in on this or not. Is it time for the Wild to give up on the green and gold North Star colors? I grew up in the 70s and 80s, loved the colors and team, but I think it's time for the Wild to decide that they're the Wild and not the Dallas Stars of the North. And don't we have to give the Stars a portion of proceeds for merchandise sales anyway? See, I'm with this guy. I don't get it. I don't get the fascination with it. I think every time we bring it up, we're just reminding everybody that team left. I think that they are them. The Wild are different, and that we shouldn't have this ongoing fascination with trying to sort of retrofit those colors. I don't understand why people are obsessed with it. Where are you on this?
Well, I mean, they started off as the retro jerseys, and then they made them their official, third jerseys. For the most part, the Wild have done a really good job of trying to be its own entity and having its own brand and different types of uniforms and things like that. Regardless of the whole North Stars connection, I just don't like the third jerseys. I think they look like Subway uniforms. I'm not a big fan of them. I think they could do better. I think Wild fans are going to have a little bit of a freak out when they see the Stars jerseys. They're using their third jerseys in the playoffs apparently, which are they basically look like the old North Stars jerseys. So I think it almost feels like they're trolling Wild fans a little bit with that.
Yeah, that's the idea. That I'm sure you will foment that controversy as we get closer to the postseason. What are we looking for tonight? What do you need to see, or what do we need to see from the Wild tonight to get the 2 points in regulation?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give you coach speak like a heavily competitive game like John was doing today, but that is what you want to see. What I want to see is that they're going to compete with this team in this building. Look, a lot of times the Wild play here on second of back-to-backs, and that's a big reason that we don't see a lot of competition. But I've covered way too many non-competitive games here, or games where they jump out to leads and let Dallas creep back into the game or storm right by them. So I just want to, I think that is an important, win or lose, I think it's important for them to come in here, compete, and show this team that they can beat them in the playoffs and put them some doubt in them. You want to see great goaltending. You love to see them get to Ottinger a bit, who loves playing against the Wild. I talked to him today for a story that I'm going to be working on next week. You want to see their special teams do well, because as we know in 2023, it was, 5-on-5, the Wild were the better team in that series. Special teams, the Wild were garbage in that series, both power play and penalty kill. So that's what you want to see, especially because the reality is that tonight, the Wild are mostly healthy. Zach Bogosian is the only player back in Minnesota, where, Dallas is missing some really significant players tonight, led by Rupe Hentz. That's a significant cog not in their lineup. They still have plenty of star power on the ice. Their three best defensemen, obviously their star goalie. But you just want to see the Wild actually show up today and put on a good performance. And, again, if they lose and home ice isn't what they get, so be it. Yeah. But I think it's just putting out a really good representation of what Dallas is going to have to deal with in the playoffs. And I expect this to be a physical game. There's no doubt that Marcus Foligno, Nick Foligno, Jakub Trenyan, Michael McCarron, they're going to try to put a lot of sting on some of these big players for the Dallas Stars that they're going to have to go up against here in a week's time.
How favorable is our schedule the rest of the way after tonight?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, look, they go to Nashville and play there Saturday afternoon. They go to St. Louis and play there for their last road game, and then they come home on a second of back-to-back and play the Ducks. Nashville's fighting for their lives right now to make the playoffs. St. Louis is pretty much a pipe dream, and Anaheim, who's been really, really, really bad lately, who I've always thought was overrated. The Wild have beaten them, I think, 21 in a row or something crazy like that, or 20 out of 21. They'll obviously, they should be the favorite in that game as well.
Is it true the Wild have never enjoyed a 3-1 series lead in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, definitely that's true, because remember in 2003 they rallied back from a pair of 3-1 deficits and got swept in the third round. And yeah, the Wild, as I mentioned, I mean, they've blown 2-1 and 1-0 leads. I mean, remember in 2014, that incredible series against Colorado, the home team won the first 6 games of that series, and then the Wild went there and won Game 7. Last year was really disappointed, where they should have won. Yep. and moved up 3-2 in the Vegas series and came home and then lost their game. But yeah, they've never been up 3-1, at least that in my memory of covering them. It's hard to do that when you've because I don't think they've lost a game 7 actually, so there'd be no way they could have been up 3-1.
This came up much earlier in the show, and I don't know how much you know about how the TV deal here works. But 612 guy and a couple other people are upset that this game, being an important one, is on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
Is the NHL really that clueless? Somebody tried to tell me that, like DirecTV, you actually get ESPN Plus, but then I don't know what the blackout rules are, how they apply. What do you know about that? Any of that stuff? In terms of
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I was talking to both teams' broadcasters this morning at the morning skate, and to me, it's insane that if they're gonna swipe this game, then put it on ESPN. But the fact that you need, the app to see it is just absolutely ridiculous. And the blackout rules, I don't know. If I would sure hope that if you have DirecTV in Minnesota that you'll still be able to watch the game. But it is, if ESPN Plus, if you got to pay for it, who knows? I mean, it's just the whole blackout rule is so archaic in today's day and age where everything is online. And obviously TV is a huge issue in Minnesota right now with FanDuel going extinct after the playoffs, after the first round, essentially. And the Wild are really obviously working behind the scenes on how they're going to show their games next year, whether it's streaming or over the air or a combination of both. It's going to be really fascinating what the Wild, roll out here come next season.
Well, the good news is the game will be on the Fan tonight. You can get it via the iHeartRadio app. You can get it via 100.3 The Fan. Lengthy pregame show, 7 to 8, although Gaardsy and I have both speculated that it's not going to be that much work for Fallness because all he's going to do is rerun and re-rack a series of interviews, probably with you among them, from his filling in for PA earlier today. There's not going to be any original work on there. We're just assuming.
God, that was today. That seemed like ages ago. That was a painful experience, that one that I obviously put out of my head.
Was it controversial at all?
Wow, yeah, it is amazing to me that Fallness is actually going to work a total of 4 hours today. That's crazy.
Unprecedented.
So a full pregame show, 3 hours, and then the 5 or 6 minutes that he's on the air during the game. Pretty impressive.
Very impressive. We look forward to you reading what you get out of this game tonight. We'll be watching tonight and listening, of course, on the Fan, and we will talk next week. Thank you.
No problem. And I expect a text message from Fallness any second, I guarantee.
Be surprised if you don't get it, that's for sure. Thank you. Russo.
See you, Dan.
Be good. Dateline, Dallas, Texas, big one tonight. So the tiebreaker is ungettable. In other words, if the Wild do no better than end up with the same number of points as the Stars get home ice. So by definition, you have to win in regulation tonight, and then obviously you have to keep winning and hoping that the Dallas Stars, whose schedule I've not checked, maybe stubs its toe afterwards as well. Somebody is also telling us they believe that if you have Hulu, you can get the game via Hulu tonight. And this is another example. Well, you know what? Let's break and we can talk about this in a little more detail about what all this technology has wrought. In a lot of ways, it feels like there's more options and more availability, but in other ways, I think it actually feels even more constraining. We'll get to that. There's an NFL controversy that we need to get to as well, related to, whether the National Football League is under investigation as we speak by the government, and who knows where else we go. We got one more All the President's Men soundbite from that motion picture, which was released 50 years ago today. And we'll get to that a little bit later as well before we wrap things up at 6:30.
Now.
To find a text that came in much earlier in the show today. We were chatting about this being the 50th anniversary of the release of All the President's Men, the outstanding motion picture about Woodward and Bernstein, largely the Washington Post as a newspaper, the Nixon White House, etc. And we were mentioning that there was a local angle that was part of the movie, but was also real. Kenneth Dahlberg, who had found that a check that he had intended for the committee to reelect the President of the United States had ended up in the bank account of one of the Watergate burglars. And we were kind of trying to pin down exactly where Dahlberg ultimately lived, which seemed to be Deep Haven. Somebody I thought had texted that for a while, at least, the Dahlbergs lived basically like right next to their compound, was either right next to or right near the Wheaton family, David Wheaton family compound.
Oh, really?
Which probably, and I've been to that compound once actually to do a column.
That's Deep Haven
on him, so that actually makes some sense. So it ends up being a very, very small world.
And Deep Haven is technically can be a Wayzata.
It's the same zip
code.
Yeah, that's right. That's also true. And that, of course, was also a long time ago.
Which is not my zip code, by the way.
For the record?
When people say,
sure?
Minnetonka, do you live on the lake? I say, no, I live 2 miles and 2 million away from the lake.
So the issue on the Wild game tonight and television availability, it can be a very, very frustrating subject. And, you find out that, well, actually, it's ESPN Plus, but you can also get it via Hulu. I'm going to take the listener's word on that. I don't know if that's true.
You can. According to ESPN, you can.
So it is, and in the end, I guess, if you have Hulu, that's good news.
Yeah.
But it does speak to the fact that it's getting so hard to keep up with what gets connected with what. And in some cases, you might not even know. And in 2026, to me, the goal all along was supposed to be, we're going to make it easier and easier for you to get to the shows you want to get to, and finding what you have, make that as easy as possible. But in a lot of ways, I think it's actually become more complicated. And I think sometimes people get defeated and they go, well, I don't know if I got to look up this. Do I have that? Was that part of that same package? And even, with the NBA decision to go with games on Prime, right? What are their other streams? They got Prime. They got, do they have an Apple? No, they don't have an Apple.
No, but they've got Peacock.
Peacock, yeah.
Yep.
We all know why they're doing it. It's all money driven.
Correct.
And they got to make their money. Lord knows that's true. We all do. But it's made it, I think, again, for a lot of people, you do clamor for simpler times to say, well, it's either going to be on channel 4, 5, 9, or 11. And you go, well, that's pretty easy.
Yeah, that was
Everybody's got that, whether it's via an antenna or DirecTV or your Comcast. They're going to have that, right? So as much as we understand the changes, it has made it in some ways more frustrating and exasperating if you don't have a scorecard in front of you. If you don't want to take the time to say, all right, this game's on this, and this, and where do you find that out? And how do you know what you have and what you don't have? It's oddly enough gotten, I think, even more difficult.
Today is a great example of it, not just for the Wild game, but the Masters is on right now.
It's a great example.
And the Masters, even though it's the greatest sporting event ever, it's got a very weird thing during the first couple of days where they don't do any live coverage until, I think, 2 o'clock on ESPN.
Right.
And you can watch it on Masters.com. You were watching it on Masters.com earlier in there because that's what Tennessee had pulled up.
Not by choice, but that's what was pulled up there.
That's what Tennessee had pulled up for Common.
Yeah.
Because at noon, it was available on Prime Video. Prime Video is now a partner, so Jim Nantz and everybody, Terry Gannon, Jack Nicklaus, they were all locked in on Prime. But today's a great example because I'm home this morning, and on Xfinity, and this isn't just because I do commercials for them, but one of the beauties of it is on the voice remote, you can just say Masters.
Yeah, right.
You just go Masters, okay? Because I'm trying to because I know there's some stuff available on all the different streams. So it pops up, and it's all laid out for me, but it's holes 4, 5, and 6, Paramount Plus, okay? The McElroy Group, that's on Disney Plus, and it's got, so I'm down there, I'm in my basement, I'm like, well, I have those.
This is a prime example of what we're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. I have a lot of them. Oh, good for me.
Yeah.
And so, but then I want to watch Amen Corner. So it's Paramount Plus. And then I hit it. Okay, what's your login? well, I don't know. Is that my wife's email? Is that my email? I can do it with the code. I don't have that app on my phone yet. This whole deal. So I end up kind of under duress, just staying with the McElroy group, which is fine. I love Rory, and DeChambeau, I think, was the other group. But because it was Disney Plus and that was already logged in, and I didn't really want to take 10 minutes to reset my Paramount Plus, which I never use.
About it.
I never use it.
Right.
And then we have Prime as well. So that's what I settled on when I went back upstairs and did the whole same thing. So, I mean, I felt like a boomer, but I don't feel like I'm a boomer. I feel like that's too many options.
Even for you.
Yeah.
Let alone me.
And I have them, and that's fine. And I was glad that it was all laid out for me, that I could just do this. But it was funny because I'm sitting there going, there's literally 9 options right now that I could pick. And it's going to take me 12 minutes, which, again, in the grand scheme of things, not a big deal. But it was just, I found it funny today as I was stumbling through to just try to watch a couple holes of the Masters before I came into work.
Well, I didn't realize it was that compartmentalized the way you're laying it out on
a lot of
which
options
holes
today.
and which groups, the whole bit.
And I could have just gone to masters.com.
Yeah, right. But yeah, who wants to do that?
I didn't want to do that.
You know what? When you have over-the-air TV or you have cable TV, old-fashioned, the regular channels there, or on DirecTV, you almost never have to worry about a password either. Because that's the other thing.
Yeah.
If it's a stream that you haven't used in a while, half the time that's what you run into. Oh God,
exactly right.
It logged me out. Now I gotta get relogged in. Now it's sending me an email to click on it to be sure it's me.
Yeah.
And by the time you figure all the whole thing out, the event's over.
It's true. I just went through it with Max for the NCAA tournament. When you're trying to watch it on the road, you want to watch it there. You got to make sure your Max is up to date. And because of all the different promos that all these companies have done over the years, you do have different emails. Or this one was with my wife's phone on Verizon.
Yes,
this one was
that's exactly right.
So you do
even how you set it up.
And I'm sure at some point it would make sense to just go through all of it and figure it all out. But we all know everybody's busy. I don't have an hour to just sit there and make sure everything is locked in and ready to go just so that the next time I want to use my Max subscription, it's ready to go. It just doesn't seem like a productive use of time until you're sitting there trying to watch the Masters today.
None of it feels easier, and I thought the whole intent was, we're going to have all these options. It's going to be easier and easier than ever. Speaking of, this is kind of related. The Justice Department has opened an investigation into whether the NFL has engaged in anti-competitive tactics that harm consumers, according to people familiar with the situation. Now, there's a million stories on this. This one's via wallstreetjournal.com. The Sports Broadcasting Act grants the league limited antitrust protection to allow the teams to collectively negotiate packages of TV rights. Media companies, regulators, and members of Congress have raised concerns in recent months over how difficult it is for consumers to be able to watch their favorite sports games as a result of rights deals in which leagues offer smaller packages of games to streamers. The nature and scope of the investigation couldn't immediately be learned. Part of this is, I think, been prompted by the league is I think, through some of their big deals, halfway through the deal, TV deals, they want to renegotiate more again because they think they can get more money out of some of the streaming services. So all of this, I think, is somewhat connected. It might end up being a good subject to explore with Kevin Seifert. But I think this story has some legs, and where it goes, I don't exactly know, but it's kind of related to, the distribution model, how fair it is. Here's the key graph. The NFL is seeking to reopen its deals with networks to lock in higher rates. Under the NFL's current agreements with CBS, NBC, and Fox, the league has an opt-out window after the 2029-30 season. Sports rights are generally the largest content expense for media companies. At the same time, the traditional media companies are contending with shrinking TV audiences as well. So stay tuned on that. We'll continue to follow that story, maybe even get a guest or two on it, because it potentially can get pretty interesting, pretty volatile as well. And it's kind of related to exactly what we've been talking about. 64686, Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line. Back in just a minute here on the Fan. the TV sports broadcast issue, I am a cord cutter. I get local over-the-air TV only. I get Peacock and Prime for other reasons at no cost. I love sports, but I've gotten used to listening to the radio for most of them while I do something else. Don't mean this to be an iHeartRadio promo, but I do enjoy it for that. The leagues chase me out of the stadium experience with their high prices. Then they cut me off with the a la carte app nightmare. If they take it off the free TV or the radio, I'm not even sure I would miss it, and I would gain the time back. So the moral of this story, by the way, right next to that text is the common fan is left out. Games cost a fortune. Streaming subscriptions cost a lot. Thank God for KFAN. We're the bargain.
How about that?
iHeart app and KFAN, the gift that keeps on, the free gift that keeps on giving. Now, obviously, there's advertising, but there's advertising on everything that you're going to watch or listen to.
I caught a lot of it on my various streams today.
But there's no 10-step process to sign up for the iHeartRadio app. It's as easy as it can get, and it is 100% free. Now, we can't provide TV, but it's radio.
And with Joe O'Donnell and Tom Reed, it feels like you're watching.
Exactly.
It's so descriptive.
Available to you, and it's not complicated. You don't have to re-log in every 15 minutes like we have to do to get on the text line.
Yep.
So we end up getting some nice advertisements in favor of the KFAN concept for sure.
And you can make KFAN a preset on your iHeartRadio app, as well as a Timberwolves channel. And you can make them both presets, so you don't even have to search for them. They're just right there at the top.
On my presets, I've got KFAN. I've got the Plus.
Yep.
I have Timberwolves Radio, or Timberwolves channel, I guess I should say. I have State Fair Radio on my presets. Do you have that on your preset?
Not State Fair. I've got the Fan, I've got the Plus, I've got the Timberwolves, and I've got News Talk. State
Fair Radio might be one of the most underrated stations in our family.
Yeah, that's Greg Swedberg's favorite station.
Exactly. The incoming Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Well, now it would be two-time Hall of Famer because he's already a country music Hall of Famer, but now he's going to be a Minnesota Broadcasters Hall of Famer as well. That's his baby, right? His brainchild.
He loves it.
I love it too. It actually has become one of my presets that I occasionally listen to. Do people understand the concept of State Fair Radio? It's music.
Even if they don't, you should explain it.
As far as I understand it, well, obviously it's music, right? It's nonstop music.
It's not Monty Creason's Traveling Reptile Show.
No, although that's not a bad thought, actually. It's it's music by individuals who, at one point in their careers, maybe more than once in some cases, performed at the Great Minnesota Get-Together.
At the grandstand.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a great concept is what it is. Because then you're obviously getting music from all different generations, all different parts of musical history, the whole bit. It's outstanding. And it's very easy. If you just type in State Fair Radio to the iHeartRadio app, it'll come up. And then you can make that a preset too, which I did most recently. It's a wonderful thing is what it is.
My other preset is Shabuzi Radio. I'm not sure what kind of mood I was in that. Bar Song's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Ryan Burns from Gopher Illustrated. Can't believe I know all the words. It's like, well, I'm not that old. I can still sling it if I need to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to hang out with Kessler at some of these,
I wouldn't.
But I can still get around if I need to.
Maybe, that's come to think of it regarding the bathhouse story.
Yeah.
Maybe if those changes are made to the laws that we make it now legal for consensual adults to do whatever they want to do in a bathhouse, which still seems bizarre to me.
It does.
Whether we're talking about heterosexual, homosexual, it makes no difference to me. There's a whole concept just in the public settings. I just want to get a steam. That's all I want to do. Anyway, but I digress. If that comes to be, we know Kessler's got nothing but time. Why don't we make that one of his jobs? We need you to be the investigative reporter and check out some of these bathhouses. How do you think could anything go wrong there, you think?
The problem with that idea is I think he would say yes.
Yeah, he probably would. Probably would.
And then I'm worried.
Dan, when is KFAN Plus coming and how much will it cost? That's Mo from Wrigleyville. KFAN Plus already exists and it's free.
We have the Plus. It's the home of Gopher women's basketball.
Exactly right.
I'm on it all the time.
Yeah, so it's there for you.
Dan Patrick's on there. I think Cowherd's on there.
That's the other thing.
Rich Eisen.
It does give you some national options.
Yes.
In addition to some local options as well. You get probably the best of of both worlds. This about as frontal although unplanned advertisement for the iHeartRadio app and KFAN that I could have imagined. But
it's not our fault if it's convenient.
No, and it's all very organic the way we got to it in this particular case for sure. You're missing Izzy in Vegas writes. You're missing one of the greatest presets that they have, which is the Casey Kasem channel. Is that true?
I've never heard of it.
Do we have the Casey Kasem channel?
I can look. I had the app pulled up.
That's outstanding. I watch most of my sports on the radio. That way I don't have to watch all those stupid celebrations, writes 218 guy. Yeah, that can get a little thick. Can get a little bit difficult as well. There's no, I don't think anybody would disagree with that. The other thing that stinks, and we've talked about this before, writes Paul from Florida, is you can't flip between events. Yeah, that's the deal.
It's harder.
It's harder if you're going to go between stream and, let's say, an over-the-air channel or a DirecTV channel or cable channel. Now, I'm assuming better equipment's coming where that's going to make that very, very easy to do, but there's nothing particularly easy about that right now. There's not any question about that.
I've got the American Top 40 Classics, 90s, 2000s with Casey Kasem pulled up on the iHeartRadio app.
How do we feel, and I know we've discussed this before, there's still a feeling of angst among a lot of people that the NCAA championship game it's not on the stream, but it is on cable. That game should be on CBS the way a lot of the other games are in the Big Dance. It's been on Turner for a while, right? How long has it been on Turner?
Probably 10-ish years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been longer than you'd think.
So, to a certain extent, you could say that ship has sailed, but I guess I kind of understand where it feels a little bit. Is that the only one? Super Bowl is still over the network, right?
Yeah, but ESPN's getting one, but that'll be on ABC.
Yeah,
as
exactly,
well.
Right.
The college football championship, is that ABC as well as ESPN? Because ESPN has a million channels. They do the altcast.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Because college football playoff right now is an ESPN property.
Yeah, you're right about that.
I just don't remember if it's on KSTP here locally or if I'm watching it on ESPN. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't have the answer to that, but somebody probably indeed would. All right, look, let's go ahead and get one more break in, and then I do want to recap what ended up being another very successful game for your favorite baseball team, the Minnesota Twins, who actually completed a 4-game sweep over the Detroit Tigers in front of hundreds today at Target Field. I want to get to a couple of details there, and a garden variety of items should take us all the way to the bottom of the 6 o'clock hour. Stay tuned. We didn't do a top 5 at 5 today because we had Russo at 5:02.
Rory McIlroy fired a 5 under par 67 today. So the defending champ is atop the leaderboard. He is tied with another American named Sam Burns at 5 under. Patrick Reed, former champ, 3 under. I think that's Jason Day, 3 under. Scotty Scheffler's at 2 under. Justin Rose at 2 under.
Lumpy?
No Lumpy. No
that
Lumpy.
Ship has sailed.
I wonder if he's there. I wonder if he gets to hang out.
Well, you got to be able to hang out. He's lumpy.
It's true.
I don't know if he wants to. That's the other thing. Maybe at some point you go, I don't want to just hang out. I'm not sure. Twins wrap up a 4-game sweep of the Tigers this afternoon. Broke a 1-1 tie in the bottom of the 8th inning. A 2-run single. Was it Brooks Lee, did I say? You double-check who got it? I think that was right. And then he did the Bones Highland celebration. That's starting to spread, eh?
Call it the Skelly Selly, I think.
Is that what it's called?
The skeleton celebration.
The
yeah, the Skelly Selly.
Speaking of that, since we're kind of rounding up on a lot of things, Anthony Edwards has been upgraded to questionable for tomorrow night's game against, I think, Houston Gunbelt Tight, the Rockets there. And the feeling is that there's a good chance he will participate. They feel the assumption or feeling must be we want to get him out there a little bit. We want to get as many of our players out there as we can, even as we rest a couple. So we know we're locked into the 6th position. And now it's just a question of who we are facing in the number 3 spot. Do you remember the name of the Lakers got a new center this year? It used to be in Phoenix. Was it DeAndre Ayton?
DeAndre Ayton, yep.
Did you happen to see the quote or hear the quote from the Lakers head coach? What's his name?
J.J.
Redick. I should have gotten you to, maybe we'll get it for tomorrow. Because the direct quote was something effect of, he has trouble catching the ball. And if you play it cold, you'd think, oh, another shot at Rudy Gobert, right? But it's said in such a deadpan way, it makes it almost more vicious. Like, well, he has trouble catching the ball. He apparently does not have very good hands, does DeAndre Ayton. And I thought that quote was kind of interesting. But
I kind of like how honest JJ is, even though he gets backed up about weird things. Remember last year he walked off because the one guy asked him, basically called him a young coach because he played his guys 50 minutes and got run out of the gym in the fourth quarter.
Somebody, I just saw a link via The Athletic to, it's the age-old question of, well, why are the concessions still so cheap? Every year somebody does that story, just like every year.
At the Masters?
At the Masters. And just like every year when it's time to change to daylight saving, we get, why we change or should we change, whatever the case may be. And it does remind me, because they have very reasonable prices, right, for food.
You can get everything on the menu, food and drink, for like $78 if you wanted to, total.
The whole, everything.
Yeah.
Everything
like
on it.
Pop's like $2, a beer's $3. It's crazy.
It's still, to me, do they have like the variety of items that we now demand every place else when it comes to games? Do they have like 27 different items?
Unless I'm sure there's places I don't even know about, but no, it's the pimento and cheese sandwich. You can get a club sandwich. I think they might have a chicken sandwich. I can't remember, but it's pretty basic.
It's difficult for me to understand why people can't see, notwithstanding this 4-game sweep, why people can't see that the whole operation when it comes to food and pushing the new food items and bringing in media members who love free stuff to get free samples, that people can't see how they're being used or the conspiracy. The conspiracy now is if whatever we can do to change the subject from the baseball itself is a win for us, because we know the subject can't be about the baseball. Now, maybe it will be on the basis of this 4-game sweep. Maybe everything has changed. We might want to see, a few more games to get to it. But all of it is intended to change the subject from what's it's supposed to be about when you go to a ballpark, and that's the game. I don't understand why people have such difficulty seeing it. And I still maintain that when I go to a restaurant, I like having options,
Sure.
Although I don't need what was the place? Isn't it Fridays that has a menu that goes on for like 30 pages?
Well, they might, but Cheesecake Factory is most infamous for that.
That's an even better example. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Where I don't know that I necessarily need that, but I can at least say, well, I'm in a restaurant. You're not supposed to go to a baseball game because that's not a restaurant. It's where a game's being played. So the notion that we have to have 5 million options.
Yeah, this really bothers you.
I can't get it. And the more it bothers other people, the more it bothers me because I don't even think people quite understand it's not so much that it bothers me. It fascinates me that once upon a time, when we were not going to a restaurant, but going to an event, whether that be a concert or a ball game, whatever, our emphasis was on the cultural outlet that we're going to see. And if while we're there, we could grab a dog or something else, fine, that's fine. We'll just grab something quick on the fly. We don't need deep fried, whatever the case is, with something else inverted on top of it that looks like some kind of presentation. You want that? Go to a bleeping restaurant. Not that difficult. Shouldn't be that difficult. But it apparently is. Not to mention the fact that part of the reason the lines are as long as they are is that it takes people, they're overwhelmed just looking at all the choices.
That's true. And you got to prepare it. If it's a couple of steps, they got to prepare it back there. It takes a little longer.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I'll gladly die on very lonely on this hill. I'll die on it. There's something we lost in our ability to focus on why we were going to an event. Oh, to see the concert, to listen to the singer, to listen to the monologue the comedian was going to offer. Not that, boy, sure, I wish we had a lot more choices to eat. We came here to eat, didn't we? No, but people have been so bought off by it and gotten so spoiled by it that they can't, unfortunately, see past that to understand exactly what the point might be. I love the State Fair Radio on iHeart. Thank you for bringing it up. That is from 507 guy. Dan Minnesota writes, if Dan doesn't want to accept his new food tasting invite next year, I may know a snarky guy willing to attend as bumper-to-bumper correspondent. I can honestly say I have not once, I'm sure I've been invited, not once attended a new food tasting thing because, again, related to the Twins, it has if you attend, you are complicit in enabling this team to change the subject. If anybody thinks it's an accident, how this has turned into big business for them, you're not paying attention. That's what it is. Here, let's talk about the more exotic. You love exotic too. You're an exotic guy, right? You have exotic tastes.
I'm the tasteless box or tasteless vox of mashed potatoes. I don't even know. I think the craziest thing I may have ever eaten at any of these venues would be the Murray steak sandwich at Target Field. And I don't even know if they have that still.
That's a great callback.
That was one of the originals.
That's a great callback.
And I liked that. That was cool. It was like back then it was like $14. I'm sure it's $29 now.
Yeah, at least.
In 2010, 2011 when I was.
And now it's probably got to have something else on top of it.
Yes.
With like a loaded baked potato on the top of it or something.
Yes. I think that might be the only time I've ever really gone off script.
Okay.
At a game. Just because, to me, it's difficult to eat that stuff.
That's also true. Yeah, you're right.
Just
That's also
sitting at the game, watching it, even if there's a place to sit.
Well, you're assuming you want to watch the game. That's the thing.
So.
You might be wanting to watch the game. Apparently, that's 80% of the people have very little interest in watching the game. I guess you could make the argument, well, if the baseball's bad, then you need something else to buy yourself off. I guess that's very true. But yeah, the art of. You want something that you can eat more easily, right? A sandwich still a dog still is the easiest.
Yes.
Correct?
And you always go popcorn, I've noticed.
I do go popcorn.
Over our years of sitting next to each other at games.
That's true.
For me, the soft pretzel to me gets me every time at every venue.
Yeah. That's a good one too.
At Williams Arena, I get it all the time. At Timberwolves games, they have like a huge, like massive pretzel. I think it's like $50. I'll get that one every once in a while. And I like them at any high school concession stand as well. Braemar, Pagel, wherever it is. I'm a sucker for a soft pretzel. I might get one tonight. I got to go pick up my kid at hockey.
Yeah,
I might go get one tonight.
Easy.
Very easy.
You said easy to handle.
Don't even need the salt on it. I can just take it dry.
You don't need to use your napkin every 15 seconds.
Correct.
Right? It's not that kind of food where it's going to get ugly. The whole bit works. All right, let's get one more break in. We will come back and review a very busy program today and what we have coming up on the Friday Football Beast.
Show Wrap is presented by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
Much earlier, we played the moment from the motion picture All the President's Men on the 50th anniversary today of the release of that film, in which the editor of the newspaper, Benjamin Bradley, basically cuts Woodward and Bernstein down to size, basically says, you haven't got it. You haven't got the story yet. Don't tell me you do. Get harder information next time. They are both devastated. They are both cut down to size. But the part of the film is, over a period of time, they clearly win over their editor because of the number of wins they basically accrue. The number of times their reporting does pan out. Better information, harder information. And towards the end, There's this scene as they are preparing to go to press on their most recent revelations, and they are having the same editor do the same thing he did earlier in the film when he ripped them, read again what they have written. And at this point, I think he's already read it, and he's kind of waxing philosophical to Woodward and Bernstein. Let's listen.
Mitchell know he was talking to a reporter?
Yeah, but I think I woke him up.
You had good notes?
Verbatim.
He really said that about Mrs. Graham. Well, cut the words here and print it.
Well,
It was a family newspaper. You know, once when I was reporting, Lyndon Johnson's top guy gave me the word. They were looking for a successor for J. Edgar Hoover. I wrote it, and the day it appeared, Johnson held a press conference and appointed Hoover head of the FBI for life. When he was done, turned to his top guy, and the president said, "Call Ben Bradley and tell him you." Well, everybody said, "You did it, Ben. You screwed up. You stuck us with Hoover forever." I screwed up, but I wasn't wrong. How much can you tell me about Deep Throat?
how much do you need to know?
You trust him?
Yeah.
I can't do the reporting for my reporters, which means I have to trust them. And I hate trusting anybody. Run that, baby.
And on his way out, Ben kind of taps his left hand on the desk and then kind of claps his hand. One clap, as in saying, my guys got it. My reporters got it cold, who I stuck by after, dare I say it, motivating them, challenging them early, get harder information. Outstanding motion picture. 50 years ago today, All the President's Men. Still, according to a couple of our texters, on a lot of the movie channels, including, I think they said Max or HBO 4 or one of those as recently as last week. It's a pretty easy film to find.
Yes,
right?
It is.
Got a lot of attention most recently, too, when Bob Redford passed away. He and Dustin Hoffman, of course, starred. Jason Robards, in some ways, almost steals the film, playing the part of the late, great Washington Post editor Ben Bradley as well. I want to thank the listeners today, the letter writers today. Dr. Dan's inbox was opened at about 4 o'clock. Good stuff as always. And then Russo Radio joined us, Dateline Dallas, for the big one tonight. And that's what you have to look forward to tonight on the free iHeart Radio app, if you're so inclined, or on FM 100.3 The Fan. An extended Wild pregame show will start at 7 tonight. Opening face-off, Wild Stars with home ice at stake in the first round right after 8 o'clock this evening. Gaardsy is you're gonna have a little later coffee than usual, so you make sure the teeth don't end up in the glass, or how are you gonna get it done?
That's going to have to be it. Yeah, drank a little coffee after the top 5, which I usually don't do.
Yeah.
And I got to have some organic mental clarity to make sure I log into everything, ESPN Plus or Hulu.
That's true.
Make sure I'm ready to go for that.
Yeah.
I think I'm permanently logged into ESPN Plus. I think that one's good.
You got that? Was that part of your radio deal with the Gophers? Did they throw that in? Oh, I thought maybe there's some perks associated with that, where they give you some streaming options.
Not that. No, in fact, I think I even paid for Big Ten Plus.
What?
Yeah. It's
You
like
should be able to expense that.
They maybe give a deal. I don't know.
Maybe they do. I just say.
I'm not sure.
Well, they got a lot of NIL stuff to mess with, don't they?
Yes, exactly.
That's it. By the way, I saw your guy. We got 2 4-star tight ends. Do we need that many? I guess you can never have enough tight ends.
You can never have enough players.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Keep them coming in.
Yeah, that's also true. And big portal weekend. We're bringing Gopher men and women, bringing in players this weekend.
Absolutely. They're all over the place.
Yeah. There's no rest for the wicked or the weary.
No, this is the time to do it.
This is when you
like
gotta
a week and a half left.
All I care, I'm assuming the Hoosiers in the football portal are dominating. They got their quarterback.
Well, yeah,
right?
that's already done.
That's already done.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, that
They
part's
got the
done.
receiver that Signetti dressed down because he was wearing gold shoes. Did you see that?
No.
Nick Marsh, the Michigan State wide receiver,
Yeah.
really good portal edition.
Right.
Apparently, he wore some type of flashy gold shoes, and Sig just lit him up publicly.
Really?
In the press conference, yeah. Said, we don't do that around here. Guy's probably making $3 million too, the player, and doesn't matter.
I got to believe the money is pouring into IU now.
Oh, yeah.
It's
for
gotta
football?
be.
Yes.
I think Mellencamp threw in another couple of mil. Cuban's up to about 10 mil. It's all coming together at this point. I wonder if there's members of the old IU basketball where they're paying a little bit. Because it's a football school now.
It is.
It's what it is. They're
Basketball
hoping
program's
to make
in free
basketball.
fall.
It is, actually. It's not very good. Meanwhile, the guy they could have had led Michigan to a national championship. 2 years removed from 8-24. Wasn't Michigan like 8-24 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
Yes.
They were terrible.
Yeah.
Not just
That's
mediocre.
why Jawan got fired.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And that's how fast the whole thing got turned around.
That's how
It's
fast
amazing.
you can turn it around now.
There's no question. Tomorrow is Friday Football Beast Day. Maybe we give Gessling the week off? What do you think?
See if anything pops.
Yeah.
See what he thinks.
You expecting something?
No,
Have you heard
you
something?
just never know. We'll see what he thinks.
That's true. Twins apologist Lavelle, we expect him at...
He'll probably be in studio tomorrow.
demanding
with
apologies.
with a bunch of food from Target Field.
That's probably very, very true, Davey. I just saw where yesterday was the 61st anniversary of Herman Munster trying out for the Dodgers. I don't remember that episode.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry I missed that piece of history.
Maybe find that on Max tonight.
Yeah, that my favorite when it comes to like those kinds of stories, like Dodgers stories, you still can't top, and this is really old school, Mr. Ed trying out for the LA Dodgers, the horse of a show called The Talking Horse. Mr. Ed.
I remember that.
Sliding into home plate with a perfect, I was going to call it a hoof slide, I guess you would say. Brilliantly done.
And then they signed him to a $500 million contract. The Twins were in it, but they didn't want to give him the extra year.
That came up again. Who was the pitcher? They actually went to him to find out if he agreed that the Twins were in it. What the hell's the name of the pitcher? He's a great pitcher for the Tigers. Pitched
Skubal?
yesterday. Can't remember who it was. And anyway, we were in it. But we came just a little close, little
He's
short.
not pitching for us.
No, but we don't need him at this point. All we do
Got
is
everybody.
sweep the Detroit Tigers. All right, so Fan on the Man in the Air first.
Yes. And then wild hockey.
Well, but Fan on the Man in the Air is never half hour.
It usually is.
Is it half? Oh, I thought it was usually 15 minutes.
Only when there's a 6:45 pregame.
Ah, okay. So you get all kinds of stuff between 6:30 and 7, and then the extended wild pregame show. Anything live on that, or would it all be from the 9 to noon show that Fallen has hosted?
I didn't put it together. I don't know.
You have a hunch?
I'm excited to listen. I'm excited to listen.
I want to know, too, just for that reason. I want some original stuff. It's a big game.
I wouldn't count on it.
Unlikely?
I wouldn't
think he
count
had
on it.
Garen on today, too.
Did he really? We're going to have Garen a week from tomorrow.
Even better.
Yep.
When do the playoffs start?
Around that time.
That's what I thought. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. We will talk to you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.